logic or circular argument. Okay, 1 sa' is 4 mads, and a mad basically is a fistful, not a fistful, but you put your hands together and you pick something up, like a full 2 hands of grain. This is like a mad. Okay, so in our times in like Saudi Arabia, they sell like a few kilograms, maybe like a few kilograms of rice, like 5 kilograms of rice would be like basically a bag of rice or something. So calculate it and be generous. Obviously, it's Ramadan. You want your sins to be forgiven. And what is the point of zakat al-fitr? Do you know? It is to purify your fast. Okay, it is to purify your fast. If you backbited or did something, this zakat, inshallah, will purify that fast from what you did. So zakat al-fitr is paid the day of Eid or the night before Eid or 1 or 2 nights before Eid, and its amount is 1 sa' of a staple food item. Okay, and according to the majority of scholars, it is not allowed to give it in money. It is not allowed to give it in money. Okay, you should try your best to find someone who is willing to accept zakat al-fitr as a staple food item. And there are people, especially like in our times, we have immigrants from Kosovo and Bosnia that are in Houston, right? And I remember when I was in U of H, when we were living in Houston, we arranged always to give it in staple food items to these people. We gave them rice and we gave them flour, we gave them wheat, and they would benefit from this, okay? Now suppose theoretically, hypothetically, you could not find someone to accept this, then perhaps in this case give money, okay? But I say that first of all, give it a good shot and you will find someone, inshallah. You will find someone that is willing to accept this. And what you should do actually, what the brothers and sisters should do, is get together and arrange one person to go and find a number of families that are in need of this, okay, and then give it to them, give this food to them, so that not everyone is busy finding. Because like for example, Madrasa Islamiyya, they have a lot of families in need there, okay, and other places I'm sure you'll find groups of immigrants living together there. Yes, what? 1 sa' equals 4 mad. 1 mad equals 1/4 sa'. Simple. 1 sa' equals 4 mads. No, 1. And 1 mad equals like you put your hands together and you pick it up out of wheat or something. That's like 1 mad. Okay? And 1 sa' equals 4 of those. So you have to do that 4 times. Where is the number 2 coming from? 1 sa' equals 4 mad. Okay? 1 mad is that you take your hands and you pick up something, like a full handful. Okay? So 4 of those is 1 sa'. Okay? Clear? Okay. It is not allowed to give zakat al-fitr after the Eid. You must give it before Eid. Is that clear? Okay, it is obligatory for you to give it before Eid. Okay, let's keep questions to the end, inshallah, okay? It is obligatory to give zakat al-fitr before Eid. Zakat al-fitr is, like I said, obligatory for every single Muslim. So if a child is born the night of Eid, then you must pay zakat on his behalf. Every Muslim, the person who is responsible. So the man must pay zakat al-fitr for himself and for his wife or wives or his children. All of them, he is responsible to pay zakat al-fitr for. Okay? And he must pay zakat for anyone that is dependent on his mother or father, for example. If they are not dependent on themselves, they are dependent on their child. Whoever he is the provider for, he must pay zakat for all of them. Every single Muslim. Okay, separate zakat al-fitr. Even if a child is born, and some ulama say that even if a woman is pregnant, it's encouraged for them to give zakat on behalf of the baby inside her womb. Okay, it's encouraged to give zakat, even though it's not obligatory to do so. Okay. طيب, let us move on now to the payment of zakah. The payment of zakah. Obviously, it is not allowed to delay paying the zakah for more than a year. You have to pay it at least once a year. Okay? Suppose though, can you pay it before its time? Can you pay it, suppose your date is the 1st of Ramadan, okay? You meet someone that is needy in Dhul Hijjah. You say, well, I'm sorry, I can't pay you any zakah, I have to pay it on the 1st of Ramadan. Can you pay it then and there to him? Yes, you can. You can pay your zakah before its time. So let me give you an example. Suppose a person had to pay $10,000 worth of zakah. Okay, an example. $10,000 of zakah we're talking about, not his money. He had to pay $10,000 of zakah. Okay? What he can do is that throughout the year, whenever he finds people that are needy of zakah, he pays them. Suppose he pays so-and-so 500, then 1,000 here, 1,000 here. When his time comes, suppose the 1st Ramadan of the next year comes, he then calculates how much zakah he paid throughout the year. totals $7,000. Okay? Then he will deduct this 7,000 from the 10,000 that he has to pay, and he only has to pay 3,000 at that time. Okay? You understand? Very simple. Basically, you're allowed to give your zakah before its time. You're not allowed to give it after its time. But you are allowed to give it before its time. And this is very convenient. Okay? Throughout the year, a person can continually give zakah. And then when his day comes that he has to give zakah, he calculates, he has written down how much zakah he gave throughout the year. So he subtracts that from the total that he has to give for zakah, and he gives the remainder of zakah. Yes, you can also give zakah for a year or two in advance. But not more than that. The scholars say a year or even 2 years, but don't give it for 10 years in advance. That's the point, It's like, okay, I'll give, no, you're supposed to give it at its proper time. But if you wish to give it a year earlier, okay, suppose there was a person that, was in great need, and, he's a relative of yours or something, a cousin or something, right? And he was in great need of, let's say, $10,000, okay? And yet your zakah is only $5,000, okay? You gave him the 10,000, so you don't have to give zakah, and that your intention was zakah, so you don't have to give it for 2 years then. Okay, but the scholars say don't do it for more than 2 years. A year or two like that is fine. You give it before its time, that's fine. It's allowed, but it is not encouraged to do so. Okay. Likewise, it is strongly encouraged to give zakah in your community where you are living. Okay, it is strongly encouraged to give zakah in the community that you are living in. So you should not transfer it to another community unless there is a reason to do so. However, if you do transfer it to another community, this also counts as your zakah. So suppose, like most of us, we're originally from outside of America, our parents and our relatives, okay? So we have to give $5,000 of zakah. The scholars say that it is encouraged to give it in Houston, or wherever you're living, unless there is a good reason for you to transfer it elsewhere. And a good reason, for example, might be that one of your relatives is in need of zakah. So we have, for example, a cousin or a distant relative that it is not obligatory for us to support them, but they are still our blood and kin. So then in this case, the scholars say the best thing to do is to give some of your money where you live and some of it abroad. Okay, it's not good or it's not encouraged to transfer all of your money abroad. You should give zakah the place where you live. This is because the Prophet told Mu'adh ibn Jabal in the famous hadith of, what famous hadith did we cover? What is the right of Allah upon you? What is the right of Allah of mankind upon Allah? When he told them about zakah, what did he tell Mu'adh ibn Jabal? If they obey you in salah, then order them with zakah, and take the zakah from their rich and give it to their poor. Okay? Mu'adh was going to, where was he going to? Who remembers? Yemen, okay? So he said, take it from their rich and give it to their poor. Meaning, zakah should be within the community. Okay? Zakah should be within the community. So the scholars say it is encouraged to give zakah within your community unless there is a need or a reason for you to take it abroad. In this case, it is allowed to take it abroad. And even in this case, it is best to give some of it in your community and some of it abroad. Okay? Simple enough factor. So we get on now to the next section. And inshallah we can finish zakah today. We might even finish fiqh before the scheduled time. We can finish zakah today inshallah. The next section is who do you give zakah to? We've talked